James Kalm, the guy on the bike, your half-assed star reporter, and we are down on Grand Street. We're gonna pop into this building right here. 291 Grand Street. Gavin Brown's Enterprise. Hello. Okay, so they're calling this the Women's History Museum, and it's presenting OTMA'S Body. And OTMA, that's an acronym for the Grand Duchesses Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia Nikolaevna, who I guess were the Russian imperial family. Okay, I'll read a little bit here. Useless to a Romanov dynasty with rigidly patriarchal inheritance laws, the girls led stilted, closed-off lives before being executed for their parents' incompetence on July 4th, 1918. Well, this is a video by this collaborative project of Amanda McGowan and Mattie Rivkah Barringer. And, well, I just talked to the gallerist, and she said that this is kind of a combination between a pop-up shop and an art show. We'll take a look at some of the pieces. Okay, I guess the artists have said that they didn't really want to get into the whole titling and dimensions and materials and medium stuff, so none of this is titled. Well, I stopped in here last weekend and was intrigued with the show. Well, actually, I came in and was looking at the work and thinking that I like the way that it combines the idea of sculpture, fashion, fabric art, and, well, the pieces of the clothing always kind of evoke the figure that is absent. Also, I didn't get the references to the Russian imperial dynasty But now that I do, I kind of appreciate the extra decorative element to this. I think the Romanovs were big fans of Fabergé. Oh, I wonder if that's real rabbit fur.
Now I'm back. Making a cameo appearance as your assistant again. It's very exciting.
Oh, this is a nice piece. And I like the palette of the muted pinks, off-white, imperial purple, and the gold. I'll read a little bit more and talk about some of the furniture. Interpreting the Grand Duchesses' lives, OTMA'S body, OTMA'S body, manifests as sofas, pillowy sculptures, a vanity, an armchair, sites of comfort and self-contemplation, intricately inscribed throughout with sutured dreams and desires. I like these kind of stuffed pillow forms, kind of could be wings or even overly pumped up lips. And well, they've taken a couch here and then they've inscribed it with doodles. Well, I like the term of phrase that Nicholas and Anastasia were assassinated for their incompetence. Okay. I thought this little grouping down here was especially nice. You know, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yeah, that would be nice just to have them hanging at the side of your living room, maybe. But I like the way that they've cut these strips. So you get a very ragged kind of organic form, stripe. And here are a couple of gold mannequins that show you what the clothing look like on the figure. It's kind of an interesting combination of the, say, imperial, the royal, and the abject, the torn, the shredded, the worn. And, okay, this little backdrop looks like it was a little set for a stage, maybe. And again, this is like a little bustier. And, well, I've been looking at a lot of things lately where they've been using gold leaf and diamonds and rhinestones. And this does kind of relate to, I think, a trend where people are looking at people like Gustav Klimt a lot more intently, partially because of the decorative qualities, but also because of his intense interest in the female figure. Okay, so here we've got a collection of jewelry and objects, tabletop pieces. And yeah, each one of these pieces has a price tag on here. And then we've got this oval painting. Well, I like also the various kinds of display tropes and how that overlaps with retail sales. Oh, I was told I could come in here and change. James Kalm reporting on OTMA'S Body, Women's History Museum, collaboration between Amanda McGowan and Mattie Rivkah Barringer, here at Gavin Brown's Enterprise, 291 Grand Street. Let's roll on. We're on 25th Street. And I'm gonna try to sneak in before closing time at Cheim and read. Okay, and it's 13 minutes to closing time. We're going to try to schmooze our way in here and look at an exhibition by McGee, right? Okay. Wow. Well, we'll come in and do a kind of a sweep. This is one of the installation styles that doesn't really lend itself to piece-by-piece examination. But we'll walk through and give you an overall synopsis. Oh gosh, I like this. I got a surfboard collection. Oh, that's impressive. And we got one of his belly walls. I just spoke with the director here, and he wasn't really explicit, but I guess a lot of this work is just kind of brought in, and it's not listed in the catalog. So we'll take a look around, see if we can find a few things. I like this kind of a combination abject abstraction and graffiti street art. Also, I like the use of the found objects with his homemade ceramics. So I guess it looks like a lot of this is stuff that he's found, maybe bought at flea markets, places like that. And, well, I also like the way that he's pairing various things. As I said, you can always go back and look at a report we did on Robert Rauschenberg, maybe one of the greatest artists of the 20th century, if anybody can remember back to that ancient time. But Rauschenberg was also a master of combining found objects. Also, Barry's got a few kind of motifs that he comes back to. One of them is this cube form, and sometimes it's done individually like that. Sometimes it's worked into a pattern. And, well, I think he's an accomplished colorist. Also, I was saying, this particular piece right here and some of the other ones are things that he's found. He didn't paint these. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, gosh, that makes me think of a Forrest Best painting. So I have to make sure I don't back into something here. This multiple piece here was also a bunch of found objects. I don't know, maybe he kind of blocked out some of the areas, but evidently that was drug in from the streets. Also, one of the things I liked about Barry and also his late wife, Margaret Kilgallen, was that they based a lot of their work on what they called Hobo Art. And I guess you could write a dissertation or a couple of dissertations on the distinctions between what they call hobo art, street art, graffiti, graph writing. It's a major painting. Well, I just thumbed through the guide. It's actually got about 25 pages, and I couldn't find the title of this piece. I guess this is a polyiptych. We've got at least 3 panels. But I like the way that Barry is dividing the space. And like I said, he's got a couple of motifs that he comes back to. And one of them is this geometric patterns. And, well, he's a great colorist. Okay. Of course, we're all curious, what is inside here? Okay. All right, so just inside this little booth, this could be a lot of other artists' work, maybe. Oh God. Is this somebody's class project? I don't know. Well, whether it is or isn't, it certainly gives you a sense of something that would be a maybe a class project at somebody's garage workshop or something. Oh, that's nice. I first became aware of Barry's work, oh gee, probably about 20 years ago, and I was contacted by somebody that was writing a catalog for I believe it was a one-man show at a museum in California that wanted to include a mention of his work that I wrote. I believe it was for NY Arts back in, I don't know, 1998, 1999. So I might have been one of the first New York critics to mention him. Also, I'm a big fan of his text, L. Fong. Oh, this is cute. I got a little graffiti writer here. And I believe that most of these paintings are on panel. And well, it looks like it's either, could be a mixed media, acrylic and enamel. Anyway, I became aware of his work maybe back in the late 90s. And well, I saw a movie, a documentary that probably came out about 8 or 10 years ago called The Beautiful Losers. And it featured the group of artists that have been called the Mission School. Okay, let's look at this piece. I would say this is probably about, well, maybe 6 feet tall, including the piece on top there, and about 48 inches wide. And okay, it looks like he's got these panels. Now, he may do something interesting where he just has large sheets that he fills in with these geometric forms, then he cuts those down, puts them together in these sections. Oh, this is a nice little piece. Okay, this is one of his devices. He's using these little kind of add-ons. I think they call those a pendant piece. Oh, they're going to give me the eye and tell me to run out of here. I would say this piece is probably about 7 by 5. But again, we get to see his nice color sense. Well, ephemera, we're going to turn off all the machines. It's another beautiful example of the compartmentalized, or the little cut-up panel sections added together. Oh, I like the way he's had to round the corners out of this. I don't know, I've been watching these videos about the pyramids and how they cut all those blocks, and they got those blocks to fit together so perfectly. And how would they do that with copper tools? I don't know, but probably the same way Barry McGee gets his panels to fit together. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up looking at this. Okay, we got a giant stack of surfboards. Oh man, these are some classics too. We got the old wood ones. You do not want to get hit in the head with one of those. Okay, Liz, this is for you. We're going to hold this view of this multi-panel piece. Well, I was talking about the Mission School, and I guess that most of those artists were from North Beach in San Francisco, around there. And that particular neighborhood has a long history of being involved with the Beats, Allen Ginsberg and Lawrence Ferlinghetti, City Lights bookstore. It's a little bit north of Haight-Ashbury, but that's part of that whole scene. Okay, and you can go back and look at my last report on Barry, and he did a wall like this that actually filled this entire back gallery with multiple pieces. And okay, so here are a bunch of his little geometric pieces that have kind of broken away from their other parts and have just taken off on their own. I think that's a good example of his great color sense. That is very nice. And as I was saying, I think Barry and his wife Margaret really did bring a kind of a unique California view of vernacular street art, community art to the art world. Well, this is James Kalm reporting on Barry McGee. Cheim and read. Tomorrow's the last day. 547 West 25th Street. You can leave your comments, criticisms, reviews, suggestions. As I said, don't get into the politics, but thank you, Kate. Thank you, Mr. Ivey. You're good. You're good. Thank you.